Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to episode 49 of the Prosperous Yogini podcast. And it is another interview podcast. So, in a rare moment, there are two interviews back to back. There is a reason. The doors to my mentorship program are opening a week today. So, I brought Annette in today and Claire, if you'd heard it last week, to talk about the experience of being in my mentorship program. However, as you'd listened to Claire last week, who talked about motherhood and owning a yoga studio, that it's not just about my mentorship program. Annette is here today because Annette is a relatively newly qualified teacher. She can correct me if I'm wrong in a moment. Some training over COVID. Is that right, Annette?
Yes.
Yep. Some experience of training over COVID, so that online experience. And Annette joined my mentorship program, relatively new, qualified teacher, like so many yoga teachers. This is one of the reasons why you're here, Annette, is you work part-time as a school teacher and part-time yoga teacher. And so many yoga teachers work like this and choose to work like this. Actually, I think there's a lot of noise out there, and I've done a podcast on going full-time in your yoga business. There's absolutely no pressure for you to be a full-time yoga teacher. You can join my mentorship program and be like, I just want to grow what I've got. You can join my mentorship program and be like, I want to go full-time as my yoga teacher. But so many people enjoy the combination of the paid job, part-time paid job, part-time yoga teacher. So Annette is here to show you this is one way that you can show up as a yoga teacher. Also that journey of being a newly qualified teacher and just all the stuff that you have to get your head around, like baptism of fire. And Annette is also here to just show you there isn't one route into being a teacher. So we'll talk a bit more about this in a while, but Annette's built her teaching online first. She's gone online first. And before I hit record on this, we were just talking about her experiences of in-person teaching. And, you know, so often you would think, I would probably even like now, although you've changed my mind, Annette, recommend that someone, once you've qualified, go out and teach, try teaching in person, and then you can take it into an online model. There's no set way of doing it, and Annette's done it completely the other way around. And what I love about it, Annette, is you've had huge success in building an online weekly class. And I think you didn't realize until you joined my mentorship program. And I was like, Annette, you don't know what you've got. You don't know how hard some people work to try and create this. So Annette, let's get going with just fill us in the background of like, I always do this, like who you are, where you come from. No, how long have you been teaching and how you trained? This is a very common experience for people over the last couple of years.
Yeah, okay. So I've been a primary school teacher for 22 years now. And I started my yoga teacher training in January 2021. So I went part-time in my primary school teaching. Well, I requested it in January 2020 and it was approved mid-March 2020. And then, of course, we all know what happened a week after that. And my plan had been to start part-time in my primary school teaching in September and do an in-person training course. So I had planned to spend the summer researching training courses, which I did, but still, things weren't opened up in September 2020. So I kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. But in 2021 lockdown in January, I was done waiting. It just, in that moment, I think we were all there where it just felt like it was just never going to end. These lockdowns and isolations, they were just never going to end. And I just had to do something. And it was a friend actually who found this online yoga teacher training course. It's from a company called Your Yoga Flow, and they're based in Canada. And if I'm honest, I went into it thinking it will just give me something to do, because I'm 3 days a week. I've cut my salary in half, which I didn't mind doing if I was going to train to acquire this new skill. But it wasn't happening. So I was very frustrated. So I thought it will give me something to do and I will learn something from it. And then when everything opened back up, you know what, I will find a face-to-face in-person teacher training program. And you know what, I didn't need to.
I'm really just so pleased to hear this, because I think like we can talk about so many assumptions, and one assumption is that you shouldn't do your yoga teacher training course online, that in person is better. And there was a lot more so in 2020 in the yoga teacher world, trainer world. There was so much argy-bargy. I didn't get involved with it. So much argy-bargy about, oh, you can't train yoga teachers online. And like, there's just, as I say, there's not one way to skin a cat. And I just love the fact that, you know, you took that opportunity and it's worked for you online. And I think that's it. We're all unique, and what worked for you, you know, will not work for someone else, but vice versa.
Yeah, and for me, and I you know, I coached yoga teachers in the lead up to making the decision of going part-time and training. And of course, most people, in fact, all of them had trained in person. Some had gone up to London. I live in Kent, so London would be sort of probably our go-to place. Or, you know, they'd gone over to Greece for 3 weeks, or they'd gone to Australia for 3 months or whatever. None of that was not doable.
Not going to happen.
And you know, I loved it. It worked beautifully for me because I was teaching Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Still had schoolwork to do on Thursday. So Friday was my yoga teacher training day. And in moments, I didn't do it on a Friday. And in moments, it gave me the chance to pause lectures and rewind and re-listen and redo and stop and research. And for me, it just worked beautifully. And actually, because I had 2 years to do the course, I did it in 18 months, but I had access to all the material in 2 years. I went through it twice.
Yeah. Do you know, I run my courses a bit like that. Like, there's a lot of self-paced study. Well, you know, in the mentorship program, there's a body of self-paced study work. And I'm like you, you know, and I think it's maybe the yoga practice, we can dedicate ourselves to this. I love the fact that you can pause, rewind. There's sometimes I'll listen to training on twice speed because I'm like, actually, I know this, but then I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Pause and slow it down. Go back and listen to it. I remember I signed up 2018. I signed up to a 10-month course, Bachelor Anatomy with Gary Carter, in person in Bath. I remember sitting there at the start of this course, and he said to us, oh, by the way, you'll only take in about 20% of this. And I was like, no way. And I got my pen, I got my paper, and I made furious notes. He was right. And I look back at these notes now, and they're like, what, you know, these mess. Whereas the online platform learning space gives you so much time. It's really interesting. It was a Canadian company that you went with, because I think maybe like in the UK, definitely there were like it wasn't standard practice prior to COVID to run your training online. It is now, but even like, you know, I feel like in the UK as a trainer, I slightly lead the way in like having this model that isn't just back-to-back Zoom calls, hours spent on Zoom. Like my foundation teacher training course, even though that's hybrid and there's these weekends, in between the weekends, they have self-paced study. And I'm like, this is such a good way this is how, by the way, open university, this is how way in education. And I think you and I come from educational backgrounds, and I think we won't get on about today, but the yoga industry as a whole and trainers as a whole could do with like exploring all the possibilities of how education can be delivered. We can get like even trainers, even teachers can get stuck doing it one way. I also love the fact that you gone like, I'm going to go part-time, I'm going to cut my salary in half, and I'm going to make it work. And I think like it can be very, very easy. I talked about this with Victoria. Like, let's say you want to just give up your day job, right? It could be really easy to just hand in your resignation and just go, it's all going to work out for me. And I know people who do that, right? If I was to have done that, that would have caused me so much stress that the end result wouldn't have been what I wanted.
Yeah, you know, I've been super lucky because, you know, obviously I'm in a very fortunate financial situation, being able to have gone part-time, and also had at that time moved school since, but at that time a really supportive head teacher who, when I went to her initially and said, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and I'd only actually started in September, and I went in January and said, this is, you know, I really want to go part-time. And she was super supportive. You know, she could have said no. she could have said.
And also, isn't it that as human beings, so you've been in the education system for 22 years, right? As human beings, is it not natural for us to be curious, to want to do other things, to try, like, that's it, you right now, where we're recording this podcast 2023, you're a yoga teacher and a primary school teacher. Who knows, Annette, where you will be in 5 years' time?
I know, right? I think
that's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so exciting, and I don't think I got the I had the bravery to do it until I turned 40. I turned 40 in 2019, and I think, you know, I moved from one school to another, and then it like that. Yeah. So I then had the conversation about going part-time, and you know, I've left that school since. I'm in a different school now. I work 4 days a week now. My job role is slightly different, and I think for me, it was turning 40 and thinking, I've been thinking about it for years. I had researched yoga teacher training probably a decade before that. So what am I waiting for?
Exactly. Do you know what? Thank you. And I'm like this all the time. What are you waiting for? And I get, you know, I do get it, that like making a financial commitment. I'm talking to everyone who's like sends me messages, said, I'd love to do your training course. I'd love to do your mentoring program, but I can't afford it. I'm just waiting for, and I'm like, oh, just stop waiting. You have to sometimes just find the money and go for it, don't you? And have faith, you know. So you then qualified and you started teaching online. Is that right? Because of COVID, or because that was just going to work for you?
So I qualified last summer, so maybe June or July last year. And in my texting everyone, my hurrah, I've passed. One person came back and said, oh, you know, I've been waiting for this text. When can you start? When can you? And of course, I made up 10 excuses before I made up an excuse as to why I couldn't teach her. And so I, you know, spent 5 hours planning this, 45 minutes, of course. And
with a script, did you write a script? I remember writing a script.
I had sheets of paper, color coded everything. Sparkly gel pens all over the place.
Yeah. Unreadable once you get teaching. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I went to her house and I did this 1-to-1, and she loved it, and she said, oh, I want to do this every week. I am not brave enough to go to a class. I really want to do it. I want to do something. I don't do any exercise at all. She said, but I don't expect you to, you know, travel to my house. Can we take it online? And I just hadn't considered. It was so soon. It felt so quick after qualifying, and I hadn't considered doing that. And she said, oh, but my friend does yoga online. She does it every Monday evening. You know, people teach yoga online. And I said, oh yeah, I know, but I can't think how to make it work. And she just said, work out how to make it work. Let me know, and I'll see you next Friday.
Oh, I love your friends. Yeah.
So that's how I fell in online. So from you know, through July, August, September, it was just 1-to-1 Friday morning, right? 1-to-1 online. And then in about September, she said, oh, I feel brave enough to join class now. And I thought, oh gosh, that lasted a long time then, didn't it? And I was like, oh, I'm so pleased that you're brave enough, built your confidence, and you're going to start a class. Have you found something in your local area? And she said, no, I mean, you need to start a class online that I can join that. And I thought, oh no, this is really, that isn't what, I don't know what I'm doing. Actually, I have no plan. I didn't have a plan, but that wasn't my plan. But she was adamant that she wanted this class online. It's thanks to this one person, really, because in October.
Then you started that class for that one person that became a group class. How did you get other people? Because this is really important, guys, because at this point, Annette, you don't have a website. Is this right?
No, I had nothing.
No, do you use social media?
Questionable. No,
questionable.
I don't know.
So you've got one regular person online who now is like, I don't want to come to you privately. I want to come on a Monday evening. It'd be a group class. How did you initially make this online group class happen?
It not without errors, really. So October, I think I maybe started my Instagram page in October. With like 5 followers or something. I put that I was going to do a free.
We all start from zero.
All start from zero. And I put on there that I was going to do a free class. I'd practiced with friends. I didn't really know how to use Zoom. I didn't know whether they would see, whether they could hear me. So I practiced with people first. Then I put on Instagram with my 5 followers. And then to my free class, my mum, my dad, and my partner's mum turned up. That was it. And then I thought I actually put it on my Facebook page because I've got no followers on my yoga one.
And the Facebook page, that's your personal Facebook page, not your business one, just the one that all your good.
Yeah. So on that, I can't remember exactly what I did. Maybe told people I had a business one because I hadn't told anybody. That would be my first. That's my first mistake, right? No one knows I'm here doing it. And from a couple of other people hopped in and said, "Oh, I didn't realise you were doing a free class last week. I so would have come to that."
You didn't tell me.
I did another. So I did another free class the next week. In fact, I think I did 2 because the feedback from the first one that I did, and it was from my partner's mum, she said it was way too hard. I couldn't manage. I can't, she's in her mid-70s. She couldn't manage to hold her weight on her wrist. She couldn't manage to do things like that. So I did 2 the following week, an easier one on the Monday and a more challenging one, although my yoga is not challenging, but a more challenging one on the Thursday. And then from that, I asked people if they would like to sign up. No one signed up to Thursday. 5 or 6 people signed up to Monday, but I should say that the 5 or 6 people, it was 6. It was my mum, dad, my partner's mum, my auntie, my cousin, and this one-to-one.
I love it. I love it. But this is what I talk about, like, in the mentorship program, you'll see me talk about it, don't you? And I'm like, when you're starting something new, when you're starting from zero, right? It's kind of like this all hands to the pump. Who can help me? And the people who can help you, right, are your friends and your family. When people come to me like, I haven't got any followers on social media, I don't have an audience, and I will say, well, do you know people? Do you talk to people? Like, do you have a personal Facebook page? And I'm like, they are your initial sources of talking to people. So and these often the people who initially come to your class are your friends and are your family. But your friends and family, it's like a ripple effect. They know people, so they speak to people and they start to bring people in. And over time, it kind of like you weed out your friends, and because people are basically selfish. Even your mum and dad, right, will only come weekly to yoga if they want to do it, right? And your friends are the same. Like, I get this when people say, "Oh, well, I've got these many people, but a couple of them are my friends." I said, don't discount them just because they're your friends. If they're turning up every week, they must like the class, because even your friend will come once to support you, but they are not gonna come every week. People are way too selfish for that. And then when you joined the mentorship program, we were like in a situation where you were like, how you had this class, you didn't have a website, but it kind of exists. You hadn't pressed publish. You had some social media presence, but minimal. And I think the main thing was your numbers were really up and down on this Monday night class. Because can you remember, because we've changed this so drastically now, I know, what if I wanted to come to your Monday night class before you joined my mentorship program, what was the deal? How was I getting there?
You just have magically found me on social media and then been brave enough to message me.
Yeah, I had to message you.
From that, I would then give you my details.
And how much is it?
Random, because I was counting how many Mondays there were in a month.
Oh, that was it. So
charging, so I was charging £4 a session, but to try to minimise my work, because when I had initially come into it so I started in November, really, with the sort of the paid my paid model. I started in November, and I had done a bit of research and I copied somebody that I knew. I used to go to his yoga sessions, and then I don't think he teaches face to face, he's online now. And he had some kind of model where you'd sign up for either a fortnight or a drop in, and he had all kinds of different prices. And I thought, well, I can't manage that. I can't manage to work and be checking emails daily or weekly and sorting out.
Even if you're full time, you can't.
No, right. So I would count the Mondays in the month, multiply it by 4.
Yeah.
£4 a session.
Yeah.
And if people wanted to drop in, it was £5. Okay. To be fair, like, everybody that was there did the monthly thing.
But they got confused, weren't they?
The confusion was I don't know how many Mondays there were in November, so it was one cost. And then, of course, Christmas came, so December had a different number of Mondays in it. People were paying the wrong amount. So by January, some people owed money. I owed them money. So then it was all a pickle. And then, of course, another set.
Do you know what?
Over many Mondays in January. And then we met.
It was a beautiful example. I think like episode 3 of this podcast is friction, right? It was a beautiful example of friction, right? I had to find you on social media. I might not have been on social media. And then if I wanted to come to your class, I had to take the brave action to message you, because we always think like, email me, DM me, message. I was like, some people just want to book and turn up and see what it's like. Some people don't want to call you. Some people don't want to send you a text, right? But I had to have physical contact. I had to message you, right? Then you message me back. You give me your back's details. Not just that, I had the choice of £5 or playing this block, and that the drop-in rate versus this monthly block rate, which varied every month, was not variably different enough, So, and not just that, your admin, you thought this was reducing your admin was like loads, and people were getting confused. And there's just at every point friction. So, and then you met me. So the first thing we did, didn't we, was I was like, look, just charge a monthly set rate. Some months it's going to be 4 classes. Some months it's going to be 5 classes. One week you might miss a week, and you can do a pre-recorded class. So we kind of set up a membership, but it's not really, it's a weekly class in it. They pay a set monthly fee for this, and it's the same every month. They've set it up. Not just direct debit, but we have found Stripe, which is completely free. Yes, more transaction fee, but we actually put the price up a bit to cover that. Actually, it's a really good deal. Is it £20 a month?
It's £20 a month.
Such a good deal.
It's just, as you said, it's just taken all the friction away. Like, everybody knows what they're doing. And I did have a message from somebody at the beginning of this month to say, but there are 5 Mondays in this month. Like, it's fine. It's just £20 a month. Just £20 a month.
Because then when there's a week where, I mean, you're allowed to be ill, you're allowed to go on holiday. So if that ever happens and you don't teach a week, it hasn't mattered, because overall it's balanced itself out. And then I was like, right, let's get this website out there. So you had like a Wix website, and we did a bit of work on it. You had a lovely logo, and just together we refined it. I will put the link to Annette's website. Do you know what? It's simple, it's clear. There's lovely pictures of you. There's links to your YouTube videos. Not just that, very recently, Annette led the way. I felt like in the mentorship program, you were there leading the way with the flag onto, like, let's set up email marketing. You were brilliant. I go to your site, there's a pop-up, you've got MailerLite, you've sent me an welcome to my mailing list email, because you're now like at this place where, how many people do you have coming on a Monday night to this class? Is it about 12?
So for a snippet of time, I had 12. I'm down to 11 because one of my ladies is just about to have a baby in the next couple of weeks. So she has floated off, of course. So I'm up to 11, but it makes me really happy that it's not completely the same set of people that I started with. Some of those have drifted off, but other people have come in. And what I have found, and I only realised this maybe 3 weeks ago, was who my tribe are. Because you have spoken about that from the very beginning.
Oh, go and tell me who your tribe is.
Yeah.
Let's talk to them. We're talking to Annette's tribe here.
So at the beginning of this, and you had spoken about, find your tribe. And in my mind, I thought I want to find I want to help people who are super stressed. But in my moments of super duper stress with, work, yoga has been my solace. It's just been my calm space that I feel like everybody needs. And so I've been calling my to all of these stressed people who, of course, don't have time. They don't have to come to yoga. They're too stressed. And maybe at the beginning of this month, somebody at work approached me, and she said, and I felt like she'd been wanting to talk to me for a while, but hadn't plucked up the courage. And we found ourselves just on our own in the staff room. And she said, "Oh, I've been wondering about your yoga, but I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can. I can't. No, I just don't think I could do it." And I said, "Oh no, you can absolutely do it." "Oh no, I don't. Oh, I'm really worried." And I said, This is what I'm gonna do, and this is what I've done for all my people. I'm gonna send you the link to Monday. Come along for free. Try it. I'm there teaching anyway. It makes no difference to me if one more person clicks on that link. I said, there is no pressure. You don't have to switch your camera on. You don't have to unmute yourself. You don't need to say anything. I will say hello, so you know that I'm there. But you don't need to do anything. And I said, if you leave 10 minutes into it, it's fine. It's fine. Absolutely no problem. She came. No camera, no sound or anything at the beginning. She stayed for the whole thing, and at the end, just this beaming face came on the screen. Just like, I loved it. Oh my God, I'm coming back. I'm absolutely coming back. I absolutely loved it. And she just logged off and just went straight into my website, into my booking system, and she
pressed on the book here button.
Yes, here.
I love the book here button.
Bish bash bosh, we were done.
I know.
That's my vibe, right? It's the people who feel too nervous to go to an in-person class. They don't want to do it in front of other people. They feel really anxious about that. They want to do yoga.
Yeah. And they want to think as well, they want to do it with a teacher that's there, that's live, that there's not, this isn't you with, and you could create this if you wanted, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's sometimes we've got live classes of so many people on it. It's done like a webinar, so the teacher's not seeing you, but there's that intimacy about your class still. And it's making a lovely little side earning for you.
And
45 minutes a week.
And since I said I found that person, or she was brave enough to approach me, 2 other people have come in as well, so I've had 3 new people a month.
And this is, I do talk about your tribe, talk about your energy, and I'll talk about magnetic marketing, and I'll talk about the fact that when you get aligned with all of this, that people just, you're like, how are people going to find me? And you're like, people are finding me because you energetically have gone this is my person, and they turn up, and your students are your biggest cheerleaders, and you've got 11 solid students. So this class can grow, which right at the moment, not including costs, 11 people is £240 a month for this 45-minute weekly class. That's no small sum of money for 45 minutes a week, right? Well, you could have more people in that and still have that feeling of intimacy. It can grow, 20 people, you can still see everyone and still have this community. Plus, if they miss a week, they get the recording, don't they? So not everyone, I have this with my Yin Club membership, not everyone turns up live. So you can scale it and still keep that. You don't know everyone. I'm like this. I need to know people.
I do have one person who signed up to my Monday classes in April who can't join any of them live.
But it's not the recording.
But she's very happy to have the recording.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
She just does it an hour after we've all finished, because that's a time that works for her. And then of course, other people who can't turn up their holiday, or they've got something else on, they get the recording.
And Annette, it's an everyone wins, and this is this profitable, sustainable business is where you love it and your students love it. Everyone wins. So this is in my mentorship program, and this came from when you first join, I get you to fill out a questionnaire, and I literally create your own personal pathway. So the first thing, I'm always let's look at what you've got. So with Annette, I was
Can I just say,
Yeah.
that was fabulous. That was fabulous.
It's really
20
important because it starts you, it starts you off at the start of the 6 months. You're
Yeah.
like, I look at your business, I look at what already exists, which
Yeah.
is like, I mean, this is rubbish. I'm like, just show me it. I look at where you are and what you would like to do. And then this personal pathway is really important because it's what guides you personally through those 6 months.
Yeah.
There is root work.
And I so appreciated that. I was expecting an email, but you did a Zoom.
I make a video, yeah.
You make a video, and it was, 20 minutes, and you shared your screen, and it was a bit freaky to see, but you'd found my Instagram, and you'd found my Facebook, and you were floating through just giving, advice and giving me my next steps. And that was such a good way to start.
Yeah. It's really important. It's really important. And also that it's not just on an email, that I'm visually taking you through, look, and giving you examples of like where you could change things, and look, this is working, giving you ideas. So like, I know your pathway really, really clearly. It was like, right, let's get this website nailed and press publish. And I gave, and like Annette and I worked together on that. She sent me drafts. I gave her feedback. Then I was like, let's just get a little bit more presence on social media, which you did. You show your face beautifully, and we navigated a nasty troll as well, which was one of my, I love that, because this is what I love about the community in the program. Like, you posted it, everyone dived in on your post, and then everyone went to your Instagram, including me. We were like, and like, and we were like, So that was just like one of those moments. I was like, oh, I love this. I love it. I love what I've created. And then I was like, let's get this class. Let's take out the friction. Let's grow this. And then the next thing is like this midway point. Okay, so you've got this group of people, they're coming to class. What else could you offer them? And I know you've started doing like a monthly online yin, like workshop thing. Yeah. I've been gently saying, what happens if you go and teach in person? And just because it's like, it's just another way that yoga can be delivered. And I know you've had we were talking about this, we were like strange experience of cover class, but that, it is worth trying that because it will open possibilities. And then like that, the long-term goal, well, it's endless for you because you've nailed the online. Like, you have set up the pathway if you want to. Like, there's so many places you could go with this, but in terms of your Wix site, you've got the option. I think you're toying with it. It's like creating courses, self-paced study courses, so you don't have to be always delivering it. That your tribe that come on a Monday night, let's say they want to do a bit more, they could buy this course, it's really exciting.
I know that other people on the mentorship have done workshops and they've pre-recorded or maybe done live and recorded and put that on their website. So there are many options.
There's a multitude of options. I'm just going to change my mind. Hang on. I just knocked it with my foot. Who cares about? My husband will be like, the sound quality went wrong at the end. I was like, just this is fine. It's a podcast. Yeah, there's so many ways that you can, share yoga with people. But for you, you've gone into the online world, right? I think unwittingly or unknowingly, but I think that's been your superpower, because I know so many people, and I've been there myself, we've been teaching in person, we're trying to get this online world stuff working, and we just feel like we're like this small fish in this massive pond, whereas you've just gone, oh, this online class happened, this is working, oh, I could do an online workshop, and you've had these people that come on a Monday night buy into this. You're used to recording, this might be something you probably haven't considered. The thought of sticking a camera in your face and recording yourself teaching yoga, some people are like, who does that? Whereas you're like, oh, I do it every week.
Yeah. It's nuts to think about it. Like, to compare where I was a couple of years ago to where I am now is, And I guess because I haven't got anybody to compare myself to. Yeah. So you're so kind saying how successful I am, but because I'm not, I haven't got a gauge for it. I can't compare myself. So
example is like there's someone in the mentorship program who has got really successful in-person business, both classes and other aspects of her business, and she's now created this online membership, and it's great, but that that feeling of scaling it for her right now is this new thing, whereas you just you just, I think almost like that word ignorance is bliss, but you know, like you just followed the feeling, you took the action, you followed the feeling, you followed the signs from the universe, someone saying do this, you're like okay.
Yeah.
And it's, I was just whatever Annette, just keep following the feeling. But you have, like, you're a real dream to work with on my mentorship program, because I tell you to do something and you do it. And you also you know, put yourself out there. You are totally willing to fail and learn from those mistakes. And the net result is you've got a profitable online class. You've got consistent income because people are paying you monthly, you know, consistent income from a 45-minute class a week. You've got a lovely looking website. You've got some videos on YouTube. You've got an online booking system. You've been showing up on social media as a way of talking to people. You've now taken your tribe and started to offer them something else. You're branching out into teaching in person, doing a bit of cover and seeing where that leads. And the pathway to build your online business is just absolutely there for you. So I love it. And you know, you could, I think it's like, you could just say, like, I'm happy with this, I'm just going to leave it like this. But it's funny, like, we're not like that. It's like you could have stayed in teaching and not trained to be a yoga teacher, but human beings, we are like, it's not about growth and progression and more. It's that's not it. It's that we're curious and we're like, what was down this road, and what if I do this? And there's this gentle, compassionate expansion that you model so beautifully.
And I think you're so kind. And I think being on this mentorship program has given me it's made me feel brave in just trying something else, just trying something different. Because I think you said at some point I listen to you all the time because I do your podcast, and I can't remember where I've heard this, but I know that you know, you can't compare yourself to Yoga with Adriana or, you know, either Boho Beautiful, the couple that I've followed for years. How far are they into it? You know, how many years have they been doing it?
We never see, like, let's take Yoga with Adriana, right? I mean, what she's created is phenomenal, right? None of us saw her on day one.
Right, exactly.
I don't know, I would have to look. I wonder if her original videos are still up, right? None of us saw her on day one, and we're all on our own path, we're all on our own journey. And compare and despair is one of the main things that it's one of those habits that people have. They see someone there and they're like, well, why am I not there yet? And that's why I brought you on today, so people can see where you are right now, a couple of, you know, 18 months after training with basically a successful online yoga business, working yoga teacher, times a teacher, and all the opportunity ahead of you. So Annette, thank you for coming on. Before I get you to leave, as we all know, because you may know, see, this is the thing, you think everyone's just gets sick of your marketing, don't they? And I was like boring people about my mentorship program. I'm talking about it all the time. You may not have noticed that the doors of my mentorship program reopen next Friday, the 26th of May. And Annette, if there are people listening to this podcast and thinking about coming on, but they're thinking about waiting, what's your advice to them? What is your advice to anyone thinking about joining us?
Oh, you should absolutely do it. I've got no regrets whatsoever. When I found you, Amy, at the end of January, I keep all my yoga money separate, and I had £100 in that account, which paid for this mentorship. And I just woke up Monday morning. I think that Monday I was texting you and messaging you because I just had this gut feeling that I should join this mentorship. And so pleased that I did, because I had no idea. I think I'd started to build a website, but the first version that you saw was very, very different to the one that is online.
We should have done a before and after. We should have kept your first edition of your website.
Well, you know what? It will be in the video that you sent me, I think, because I think you scrolled. So it's somewhere. There is a video of it somewhere. I would not have. The advice that you gave me about my website, I would not have known myself. Booking systems, wouldn't have known how to do that. Mailing list, I didn't even really know what it was. subscribing to a website, subscribing to somebody, getting a mailing list, what to do with your mailing list, where you've got it, the help that you've given me with just streamlining my Monday night class, and the confidence that you've given me in, you know, I can do yin yoga, and I don't have to be doing something every week if I do a yin yoga class every month. And I've trialed that, and that's been really successful. So I'm going to continue doing that.
So I was just thinking, like, that initial investment is 695, and I've kept the price the same for this time round. But I do keep telling people, look, basically, you need to come in now because the offer's going to change, right? And if you think about that 695, like, I know that isn't a small sum of money for most people, right? But I mean, we have to sit down and do the maths. But you've definitely made your investment back. Not just that, but halfway to just continue to bring money into your business is endless now.
It feels almost friction free. You know, I would have been able to do all of these things. I do not have the time to research, or quite frankly the patience to research and try to implement all of these different things that you've helped me with. Like, every single question that I've had, I've gone onto my little walkie-talkie, you know, app, I can't remember, the walkie-talkie one, and you know, any question that I've had moments of moments of kind of despair of it's not going well, or I haven't done anything, or I'm not doing enough. And I'm so lucky that I've got friends and family who are my cheerleaders as well. But having you as a cheerleader with the knowledge and the experience, you've just got answers to questions, and you've signposted me to, oh, that's in module 4 of the online learning, so to that one. Or, you know what, I don't know the answers to that. And researching.
I mean, I don't know everything.
Yeah, and it's just cut the amount of time it would have taken me, and the stress and the pressure it would have taken me, you know, in a tenth of what it would have been trying to do it on my own.
I'm going to steal that, Annette. That it's not just you make your investment back, but you save time, don't you, from tapping into my knowledge?
Yeah,
time is money, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that is completely what it is, because I feel like if I hadn't have signed up in January, I wouldn't have a website. I would have no booking system. I wouldn't have thought of that. I'd never heard of Stripe before. I didn't understand subscribing on
April. We're only like halfway through May, so it's actually 3.5 months.
I know.
This is unrecognisable, and I think the reality is, Annette, if you hadn't signed up, you probably would still be putting along with this crazy system.
I totally would have been putting along with my crazy system. Goodness knows how much money I would owe that person, and you know, they owe me. And
I owe you a coffee. You owe me coffee and cake. When we'll call it quits. People like, it's just £2, and I'm like, just call it coffee. Just call it coffee. Annette, thank you so much for your time today. Guys, Annette just proves it's possible, and what's available to Annette is available to you. A lot more if you join my mentorship program, but still, if it's not for you, it's still available for you. So 2 things that are really important before I let Annette go. Next Wednesday the 24th of May at 1 p.m. is a free workshop, how to fill your classes with loyal students. That's an hour, 60 minutes, completely free. It's leading into the door to my mentorship program opening, which is opening on Friday the 26th. And you've got until Monday the 5th of June to decide if you're coming in, and then they're closing again, and they're not opening again into the autumn. And when they reopen in the autumn, you're going to see the offer slightly different, possibly more expensive, or, you know, I'm not made up my mind yet. Like, I'm honest with you, like, I'm really honest with you guys. I'm like, I just like to let it unfold. If we get too like it's going to be like this, things don't unfold. Follow the feeling. But one thing I do 100% know, that right now at 695, it's an incredible price for the transformation you get. So now is the time to come in. Annette, thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have you back once you've built your online course empire and you've got more followers on YouTube than Yoga with Adriana. We'll have you back next year. Yeah.
I'm going to put that on my to-do list.
Yeah, that's manifesting right there. All right, my lovelies, I will see you all next week.